So you hear a lot about hackers in popular culture and sometimes in everyday talk. Movies will both glorify and vilify hackers. We see news stories about massive data breaches occurring. We hear about foreign hackers attacking government infrastructure. And we've all heard our Aunt Kathy talk about that time her Facebook got hacked and sent all of her friends weird links to click on. At this point, hackers are just a common part of our lives. But who are they? How do they do what they do, and why do they do it? Today we're going to look at the different types of cyber threat actors. So first off, let's talk about nation-state actors. Now, these individuals work for an established nation-state either directly or indirectly. They generally have immense levels of funding and resources available to them, and since they work for their government, they generally do not face the same legal threats that other criminal hackers might. These threat actors are at play when you hear about North Korea or Iran hacking into some other government organization. The goals of these actors can range from gleaning secret information from their enemies in order to help their own nation, or directly damaging their target in some way in order to decrease their overall capability. They can also plant misinformation into a certain area in order to influence, say, an election or a criminal trial or something else along those lines. One example of this is actually the Stuxnet worm that did significant damage to the Iranian nuclear program in the late 2000s. Next, we have unskilled threat actors. Now, as the name implies, these individuals are not necessarily the genius computer experts that many would associate with hackers. They do obviously have enough knowledge to be a threat, but they often use pre-written exploits created by some other skilled individuals in order to cause damage. Another name for this group is script kiddies, or people who use basic scripts in order to hack into a fairly unsecure system, device, or account. Sometimes the goal of the group is money, and sometimes it's just general mischief. The overall resources available to this group is generally fairly small. Now we have the hacktivist. These can be unskilled individuals, or they can be very skilled. They can be alone or part of a much larger group, and they use their hacking in order to support their own political goals or ideas. You might have environmental activists hack an oil company, or an animal activist hack into a meat processing plant in order to shut down production or just get some more attention for their cause. Next is the insider threat. This is an individual that works inside of a company or a government organization that decides to do damage from the inside. It might be a disgruntled employee or just someone that was approached by an external group asking them to do a task in exchange for cash. This task can be as simple as plugging in a USB drive into a company computer, and then the actual attackers take it from there. These individuals can be extremely dangerous due to the higher level of access that they may have. Organized crime is something that all of us are familiar with in some sense, but most people don't think of the cyber world when they think about organized crime. However, organized cybercrime groups are a massive threat to corporations and normal people all over the world. The end goal for these groups is generally money, which can be gained in several different ways. Direct theft from company bank accounts, credit card scams, ransomware, theft of intellectual property, and then sale to a competitor. All of these are different examples of ways in which these groups might act. These groups can be relatively small, or they can be incredibly large and operate like a real company, with clear leadership and different departments responsible for different aspects of the crime. Finally, we have shadow IT. Now, this is something that does pose a very large threat to organizations, but oftentimes is more due to incompetence rather than malicious intent. Shadow IT is when a person or a group of people establish some sort of technical infrastructure other than the infrastructure approved by IT and put forth in company policy. They might start sharing sensitive information via their personal phones, they might add an external device to the company network without approval, or they might set up a remote access system so they can work from home. These are all devices that IT generally doesn't even know exists, and thus they can't effectively protect them against other external threat actors. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I hope this video helped to clarify what exactly the different types of threat actors are and how they do what they do. So until next time, thank you.